what if Excel could predict employee resignation before they actually happen? So in this analysis, so we are identifying the future attrition using historical data. So we have this historical data, and then we are finding the future attrition using different methods. And then you can see that we have plotted, different graph using the different formulas and the data set. So let's understand this forecasting completely step by step. All right. Today we will learn how teams can forecast future employee attrition using Excel forecast functions. So we will learn four functions: forecast.linear, forecast.ets, forecast.ets.seasonality, forecast.ets.confint. And don't worry if you are a beginner, because I'm going to explain everything in the simplest way possible using the data sets. So first, let's understand what is forecasting. So forecasting means predicting the future values using historical data. And some of the example could be, let's say, predicting future sales or predicting employee resignations. So in today's video, we will forecast how many employees may leave the company in near future. So first, let's understand what is leaver. So leaver means the employee or employees who leave or exit the company. And why do they leave? So there could be multiple reasons. So one of it, let's say, resignations, retirement, or better opportunity, contract expiry. So there could be, number of reasons. And company forecast employees exit so that they can prepare hiring plans, workforce planning, retention planning, etc. So this is our data set, and let me highlight something, and then you will also notice that. So let me color this. So let's say 30th March, and then this one as well, and this one, and then okay, this one. So you might be wondering, why did I highlight these numbers? So this is a interesting pattern because the month is always March. So March 23, March 24, 25, 26. And you can see that the resignation spike heavily in these months. And what could be the reason, right? And this is called seasonality. And this happens because what most companies do basically, so they finalize the promotions, appraisals, salary hikes in the month of December to January. And then what happens, basically people start leaving because maybe somebody is not happy with the salary increment, or somebody wanted the promotion, or somebody is not happy with the workload or the management. And so that's why you can see that we have higher attrition in these months, right? So after March, what happens? Basically, employees settle into their new job, and then hiring starts to slow down. And then this cycle keeps on repeating. And this repeating behavior is exactly what forecasting functions can detect. So let's start with the simplest forecasting function, so which is the forecast.linear. So for that, let me create some data as well. So this is again date, and then we can say predict future levers maybe. So that's the right one, e date, and then I will say 3, so which means it will give me 30th June. And if I need more dates, so I'll say this one. So this is how we get the dates. And now we need to predict the future levers using forecast.linear. So forecast.linear, basically this function assumes that growth happens in a straight line. So if I, explain that in simple words, so which means if employee resignations continue increasing, So which means Excel will extend the trend into the future. And so first in the formula, so we have X. This X is basically the future quarter date. So which is this 30th June, and non-wise basically. So it will be our historical data. So which is the historical levers. So these are our historical data. So and we will freeze it using F4. And non-X is basically the timeline or the dates. Again, we will freeze that and we'll close the bracket and drag it, and maybe we can format it till 2 digits. Okay, and then let me center align it. So if you see, we got the levers, future levers, so which is 35, 36, 37, and 38. So as I was explaining that Excel predicts future designations based on the historical trend, and what it did, it basically studied the past data, identified the growth, and then extend the line forward. So if I, let's say, put it into the chart, so insert and line chart. Okay, so I can take this one. You can see that it is just the straight line, but if I plot this one, so let me keep over here and this one. So this is the straight line. So this is what we predicted, and this is our historical data. So you can see the variations somewhere up, down. So this is called seasonality. So now we will look at another function, so which is FORECAST.ETS, so which is a very smart function. So let me remove this one and remove that one as well. So let's write the column name future levers using ETS. Okay, so now first understand why FORECAST.ETS function exists. See what happened in the FORECAST.LINEAR. So it was just the straight line and we got the number like 35, 36, 37. But when we talk about business, so in business, so it is never the straight line, because what happens sometimes pattern repeats, and so maybe there is a seasonality, there is a trend upward or downward. So forecast.ets understands trend, the growth, the seasonality, and the repeating behavior. So it does all of it. So that's why this function exists. And the full form of ETS is exponential trend seasonality. So you remember, like we highlighted these cells. So these functions automatically detect this seasonality. So that's why we use it. And let's apply that practically and see it. Forecast.ets. So now we have the target date, and our target date is this. And then we have values. So historical values are these. So we will freeze it using F4, and then we have timeline as well, and we will freeze that again. And if you see over here, so we have these options. So these are basically in the square bracket, so which means these are optional. So I will close the bracket and hit enter. So let me round it off. So you can see the difference clearly. So over here we had 35, 29, 34, 36, 37, 38. It is almost, around, but see over here 38 and 50. And let me highlight that as well, because this is seasonality like what we were talking about. So you can see that in the March, so we had 28, 32, 36, 42. So now we understand the difference between forecast.linear and forecast.ets. Forecast.linear basically assumes straight growth, and forecast.ets understand the seasonal patterns. So now we will move to the third function, so which is forecast.ets.seasonality. So now let's apply the function forecast.ets.seasonality. So it is asking for the values. So these are historical values, and then it is asking for the timeline. So these are historical timeline. So we will close the brackets. It gave us 4. So which means this function is detecting a repeating 4-quarter cycle. So in simple words, attrition patterns repeat every year. So this is very, very valuable from the business perspective, because business can plan the proactive hiring, or maybe the engagement program, retention planning, or the salary correction, because they know that in this quarter, so the employees will leave more, so they can plan it accordingly. So now we will move to the fourth function, so which is forecast.ets dot, so I'll write it maybe here, FORECAST.ETS.CONFINT. So basically, no forecast is perfectly accurate, because it is the prediction, the probability, and it might also go wrong. But this function, like confident, basically confidence interval. So it shows us the possible range, and also like how much confidence we have in our forecasting. So let's see what we get through this formula. So we have target date. So let's say for 30th June 2026, and then we have values. So these are again historical values, and so this is our timeline. So again, you see that confidence level over here. So by default, like if I just close the bracket, confidence level will always be 95%. So this is what the standard. But if let's say you need to calculate maybe 99%, so you can just simply mention that and then close this bracket. Okay, wow, this is interesting. This means Excel could not detect a strong repeating seasonal cycle. And what could be the reason? Because our data has a stronger upward growth. So in business, generally forecasting models, works, or, behave differently depending upon the data. So I think this is really, really interesting, because you would know that sometimes you also get value something like this. So which means the model you are working on, or the data so which you have, is not able to predict that. So you can just accordingly, rephrase or put your findings that, so this is what you got and this is what that means. Let me show you something more interesting. Select this data, go to the data tab, and then click on forecast sheet. And then you will see that a chart has been plotted automatically. And if you click on the options, so you will see a lot more details. So what it is doing, it is already plotted whatever data we have, and then you will see, so these are basically upper bound and lower bound. So this shows the possible range within which future employee resignation may occur. So for example, let's say if forecast is 35 levers, the actual value may fall between the lower and the upper confidence limit. So this helps the team prepare for the best and worst case scenario. So you can see, so this is the normal upper bound, lower bound, and then this is the mid range, and then you can see over here as well. And forecast and basically by the state, and it starts with this date. You can also change that, and we have already looked at confidence interval. It is 95% by default, but you can change it. So this is our data range, and from here you can change like whether you want some average, or, and you can click on create, and then you will see a new sheet has been added and this graph has been plotted. So what it did basically, so you can see, so these levers were already there until 42, and then post that, so it added, so for example, we had 2934, and if I see over here 2934 exactly. So which means, so this one, if we look at the formula, so they are using forecast.ets, and this is what we used. And if I look at this one, so basically they have used the confidence interval. And again, So I think so we were getting around 1, and so that's why you will not see difference in the upper and lower one. So it is almost coming the same. And so this is how, like, if you just want to use it directly, so you can use from there. So today we learned how Excel can predict future employee resignations using historical data. And see, the best part is that all of this works using built-in Excel functions. And if you found this video useful, so please like, subscribe, and also comment what topic would you want me to cover next. And thank you for watching. Have a nice day.